with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM. You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romide to introduce today's program.
Good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Since 1900 and counting, St. Barnabas has been caring for people in southwest Pennsylvania, and now in Allegheny, Beaver, and Butler counties, a full continuum of care is offered to our residents and patients. Additionally, through our medical center, St. Barnabas provides a full dentistry, home health and home care, hospice and palliative care. As a leader in the healthcare industry, St. Barnabas continues to be focused on the needs of the community and our residents now and in the future. The St. Barnabas Health System offers solutions for healthy living by providing residents, patients, and our communities with opportunities to enhance their daily lives. To that end, the intent of our radio show is to introduce you to successful people who are having a positive impact in the greater Pittsburgh communities. Each month, we'll bring you topics of interest to enlighten, entertain, and educate you, as we look forward to having insightful conversations benefiting you and your family's well-being. And our guest this morning is Scott Tady, the entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times. Scott, how about those elections the other day?
I followed along, yes. Yes.
Anything about, hey, how about those buckos?
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. How are you doing, Scott?
Doing well. Always good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you.
You were the first radio personality I ever appeared on your show back in the 1900s.
Is that right?
Yes.
Almost sounds like the 1800s right? By now, right? Oh, that's great. Great to know. I didn't realize that. What did we talk about?
Probably Donnie Iris and
something
the
like
Gennady
that.
Brothers and Beaver County music would be my guess.
B.E. Taylor Christmas concert.
Yes.
Vanessa Campagna.
Yeah,
all those things
about that
come about. Scott, how many times? Now, I know by personal experience, my name is spelled differently than it sounds. I have an IGH on the end of my name. So people call me Romig, Romish, and it goes on. Tady, I've heard people call you Taddy. How many different variations have you had on that?
I do get a lot of Taddy because my cousins are Dick Taddy and Jack Taddy. They're both inducted in the Polka Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
I knew those names.
So everyone knows that name Taddy, and then they assume. But my dad, in a moment of rebellion, changed the pronunciation to Tady.
Okay.
So there's just a few of us Tadys, but I answer to either one. It's fine.
Yes, you do. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've been called worse.
If you ever get a chance, Jack Taddy is still out there, still rocking the. Yeah. Oh. They play like at SNPJ. They do the Good Samaritan Festival in Ambridge every Labor Day weekend, and a lot of fun.
Well, as you know, we used to have a news director who played the accordion.
That's right, Pat Septak.
Yeah, Pat.
Yes,
so
yes.
You mean we can get Dick to come on the program and play his accordion?
I love me some polka music.
Oh, we'll do that then. We'll definitely reach out to him. So, entertainment editor of the Beaver County Times. Now, nowadays, I spoke a couple of days ago. I tried to get Patrick O'Shea to come on the program, the editor, right, of the Times. Come on, talk about this. And he said, well, these are decisions that are made higher up than me. Gannett News Service made the decision about the delivery service and stuff. But I made a joke this morning saying that Scott Tady, entertainment editor of the Times, but also I think you write all the columns. You do the sports, you do the news, because you're kind of the Lone Ranger over there anymore.
We do have a new staff. They're doing their work, and sports guys. And our sports department is like you guys were. They're out hitting, multiple games every week. So, I'm not taking anything from them. I focus on food and dining and entertainment, and you'd be surprised, at least some people are, how many food and dining stories there are in Beaver County. There's always a new restaurant. There's always an old one closing, and that gets so many clicks, so many people are interested in that. We're finding that's the most read part of the paper, the dining column.
So that's why you're still employed, right?
It helps. And we're not reviewing these places. We're just letting you know there's a brand new winery opening in Ambridge. That's my story this upcoming weekend. There's a new pizza shop coming to, Buzzy's is reopening in Rochester, and people were just eating that up. They wanted
pizza.
Because you're not getting that on your TV news or it's something like you guys. We're kicking that local.
Mall Pizza. They're going to open Anthony's again.
That's right. I'm glad you said Anthony's because everyone puts an extra H in. I think it's Anthony's Pizza at the mall, and it was always Anthony's.
I believe I picked that up from your column.
Oh, okay.
When you talked about it. But welcome sight to the mall is to have that pizza back in there.
I think so too. There's also that new pizza place coming to New Brighton. That got a good reaction. I wrote about that. It's
we had that last week.
Al's, yes, he was in here. It was a good interview. Yeah, he talked about his mom's homemade marinara sauce. Right.
And the sausage.
Did you guys save me any? I'm looking around
we didn't.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie's giving me the thumbs up.
It's just a week old now, but that's okay.
Just scrape the mold off and we'll be good.
Pop it in the microwave and you'll be okay with that. But
the
sausage,
good.
Sausage is really good on that pizza.
I had it. They had the grand reopening of the Rochester Riverfront stage a couple weekends ago. Very rainy, dreary day, but Al's was there and selling their pizzas, as was Buzzy's. But that's something I'm real high on. That Rochester stage is back.
Yeah,
it's been years. It's been almost 12 years since they did anything there. It just sat there going to waste. It was breaking my heart, and finally the Rochester Borough reclaimed it, and the future is bright.
Good, very good. When did you begin writing? Is this something that you knew that you wanted to do in high school?
Yeah, I grew up in a 2-newspaper family. We got the Pittsburgh Press and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, home delivered, and I had 2 interests, sports and music. And I loved to read the box score, see what the Pirates did the night before. And then once I realized there was concert reviews in the paper, it just blew my mind. I could read about these bands, and then I just thought, man, would that be a great way to make a living? And I kind of went that direction. And I wrote from my high school newspaper. The story I tell, my first byline was an Aerosmith concert review.
Yeah.
For the high school paper.
What year was that?
1982.
Okay.
The year without Joe Perry. And then I covered them for my college paper. I covered them for the Times. I've interviewed all 5 original members of Aerosmith at various times. So my work here is almost done.
Very interesting. Now, this program is the Best of Beaver County, so it's all about Scott Tady.
I've listened to this program many times.
I know that Eddie controls and takes over your show when you're on for Notes on Entertainment.
Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah, and he more or less monopolizes the conversation.
Yes, right?
Yeah, so this is all about you. Now, tell the truth. When the year that Joe Perry wasn't with Aerosmith, the rumor has always been that his girlfriend or wife and Steven Tyler's girlfriend or wife got into it, and somebody threw a glass of milk on the other one.
I'm surprised there was even milk in the house, but yeah, that very well could have happened.
Okay, I thought
those
maybe you had the inside.
Those were the years. I do remember. I was a teenager, but I remember Steven Tyler was forgetting words to his own songs, and that was kind of the height of their debauchery. And they supposedly cleaned up after that. And
I heard, and you were at the concert in Pittsburgh, weren't you?
It was phenomenal. It was a really good one. Of course, it was so great that Steven Tyler ended up blowing out his vocal cords. He was bleeding in his vocal cords. Like a couple days later, canceled the tour. Pittsburgh was lucky. We got to see a great show. Surprisingly, I didn't think it'd be that good. I thought, all right, I'll get to hear the hits one more time. I'll get up, move, dance, whatever. But they were on fire. Yeah. It's a shame.
I can remember one other singer who blew out their vocal cords in a drunken time on the West Coast with John Lennon, Harry Nilsson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yes. The Lost Weekend, they called that. And I'd like to have been tagging along with that one.
Yeah. And so where did you go to school?
Duquesne University.
Okay. And where did you go to high school?
South Park High School.
Grew up
in the South Hills, yes.
Okay, so you didn't originally from Beaver County.
Roundabout way, ages 2 to 10, I lived in South Beaver Township, off Pinecrest Drive near Blackhawk Golf Course. My dad worked in Midland for Crucible. Okay. The mill there closed, and we had to move. So we moved to South Hill. That's a story familiar to a lot of Beaver County people, and ended up in South Park, and it all worked out. I always felt, even when I was living in the South Hills, I always bragged about Beaver County. To me, that my formative years of bike riding and snow shovel, or sled riding, I always had these great Beaver County memories and would bore my friends about how wonderful Beaver. I would root for the athletes anytime, like Candy Young would be in the Olympics, or was going to be in the Olympics, for Beaver Falls. Pete Maravich, anyone I could brag about Beaver County, I would to my friends in the South Hills. It always stayed with me.
Did you think that back in those early days out of Duquesne University that you'd still be in this today, doing what you're doing today?
I think I went to Duquesne thinking I'm either going to be a basketball announcer or a music journalist, and they dropped the radio station they dropped having students on the radio station right when they got there, WDUQ. Yeah. So that made my decision much easier than.
Oh, okay.
But then I realized I don't know if I have the basketball radio thing. I could be a DJ, but the basketball, I don't know. That's a whole other.
Yeah.
I admire what those people do, though. Your guy, Mangino, doing the high school football, that's a talent.
Would you ever want to do that? I mean, because we have a bunch of different color coordinators that come in and do that kind of stuff.
That'd be fun to work this out. Yeah. No, not in January at Heinz Field or Acroshore, though. Give me a warm September night.
Local. Yeah. A local broadcast. All right. Because every once in a while we have to dig to the bottom of the barrel and we bring Eddie in to do color on those games. So maybe,
I bet he does a great job.
He does. So in terms of entertainment, Aerosmith, you said was your first one?
That I wrote about. Yeah. My first byline. I'd like to go back and read that article. I would probably wince at the writing, but
radio people have tapes.
Oh.
We have tapes. So Eddie was just we were talking about splicing and splicing tape. So
that takes me back.
We keep those over the years for no good reason because nobody ever wants to hear them, including ourselves. We never want to hear what we sounded like in the 1980s.
But we're probably all too hard on ourselves. You probably sounded great. My article probably wasn't that bad, but
so developing a style over the years, what influenced you?
Again, I'm a passion for art and music, and I'm one of those people who is at a show and I'm analyzing it in my head. I don't know if I could go to a show and not review it, at least in my own head. I'm intrigued by the set list. I'm intrigued by what the singer is saying, and that's something I like to talk about when I'm with my friends. We're sitting around having a drink, whatever. Someone brings up a name, Deep Purple. Oh, I saw them at the arena in 19. And you start, and that's a half-hour conversation of stories and. So to me, a chance to make a living doing that just really appeals to me.
You have to attend a lot of functions, though.
I was at one last night. I'm going on about 4 hours sleep right now. But
where were you last night?
Pittsburgh Symphony had a Pittsburgh rapper named Frizzy, and they collaborated. So you had the guy doing his raps, his brand new albums. He has 2 that came out last week. Backed by the Grammy-winning Pittsburgh Symphony, they had all these guest musicians, vocalists. This opera singer came out, and it was just a mind-blowing experience. And although it was an opera, it was a symphony show, so it was over by 9:00, so that was good.
Do you ever get tired of that? Have to attend a show?
It's more like I get exhausted that there's so much to cover, and I have FOMO. I definitely have fear of missing out, and there'll be times I'm like, I'm just going to take it easy this week, and I'm just going to watch TV, and then I'll make the mistake of going on Facebook, and one of my friends is at a show and acting like it's the greatest show ever, and then I kick myself. Why aren't I there? I should be there. So It's exhausting. Wishing I could cover everything I can, and I'm starting. The older I get, realize I can't. There's times you can't do it all.
Yeah, and in terms of going to the different ones or people that you come across, because you have to be out in the public a lot, and probably pick up information that way as well. But people I would think that they would think, wow, that's such a great job that Scott has. He goes out, he can talk to all these stars, whether they're rock artists or you're talking about rappers or people performing in Pittsburgh on the big stage or something like that. But it's not always like that, is it?
Yeah, then I'm also taking notes of the show. Everyone else is on their 4th beer and dancing, and I dance a little bit too. But I'm also the guy pecking notes into my phone and trying to remember, and tape recording what the singer just said in case I need that quote. And it's there's more to it. It's a fun job, but it's still a job.
They're not as congenial as you would or the public thinks they are.
Yeah, my patience for people has gotten less too. I don't like when people talk at a show. I mean, talk before the show, talk intermission, whatever. When people are actually yakking in the middle of a concert, that annoys me. Just the rudeness of people. There's that, but I try not to let that affect the overall experience.
What about the artist?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's so many artists now. It's like if you saw someone in the 80s, it was like a bigger deal because it seems like there were fewer great bands. Now the bands aren't as great, but there's so many good ones. You're kind of stretched out more, so it's not quite as epic of an experience sometimes to see these shows, but then there's so many more shows to talk about that's different. I don't know what's better.
The curmudgeons out there, as far as the artists are concerned, people want to get to know them. And, you spoke with whoever it is, Taylor Swift or whoever. Oh, you got to talk to her. What is she like? And so not her specifically, but other artists who people think the world of. But when you come across them like you or I in the kind of business that we're in, sometimes, they're a pain.
Yeah. You can tell who's phoning it in and who's going through the motions. I had a really good interview 2 days ago with Gavin Rosdale of Bush, and that'll be in the Times a couple of days from now. Very candid. Usually you get 15, 20 minutes. He gave me a half hour. He talked about anything, everything, except I didn't bring up Gwen Stefani. I'm probably should have made that my last question, but then he would have hung up on me. But he talked about he talked about the controversies. He talked about songs and his stance on things, and it was really powerful. But for every one of those, you get one where it's someone maybe kind of going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for them sometimes. Their publicists will schedule like 5-6 interviews in a row. If that was me, about the 5th or 6th time, I'd lose it, or I'd start giving silly answers just because I wouldn't want to repeat myself. So I wish that didn't happen as much, but usually they're fun. Usually the British guys are always good.
They're more open.
That's civility or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And do they give you guidelines? Do they say, okay, you're not allowed to ask this. Please do not ask her this.
Funniest story with that. Pete Best, original drummer for the Beatles, got an interview with him, and I was told by his publicist, whatever you do, don't bring up why he got kicked out of the Beatles. He's had that a million times. Please, whatever. So of course you got to ask it, but you got to find a way to make that like your next to the last question. If you lead, so I orchestrated like this great 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 questions, like a dance to get to that point where I could finally ask him. Like the second question in, Pete goes, "People always ask me why I got kicked out of the Beatles." Well, Scott, and then he went right into his answer. So I think sometimes the publicists are too. Sensitive. And by the way, his answer was he still doesn't know. He claims, but there's rumors he was the best looking one.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Paul was jealous.
Some people said he just wasn't as good of a musician. Take your pick.
Yeah. Scott Tady is our guest on the Best of Beaver County Radio Show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. He's the entertainment editor of the Beaver County Times, and we'll continue our conversation.
I'm Patty.
And I'm Bob. We're retired, and we live at St. Barnabas in the Village.
We used to have a house.
Lived in it for 40 years.
Raised our kids.
But it became too much. The upkeep, the stairs.
Moving seemed like such a hassle. We didn't even know where to start, so we didn't.
Until we met Cindy at St. Barnabas.
She talked us through our options.
Yeah, and she helped us with our move and all the arrangements.
There was so much stuff. Who knew we had 3 fondue pots?
But she made it easy.
So easy.
Now we enjoy ourselves.
Golf, the pool, new friends, shuttles to where we want to go.
The pub and the food.
So good.
There wasn't a long-term commitment or any large fees.
And they have a healthcare system on campus with doctors if we need it. The kids really like that.
The kids like to come and eat with us.
There's an easier, worry-free way to retire at the Village at St. Barnabas. Come visit us for a free and informative counseling session and personal tour.
I can't believe you waited so long.
I can't believe you waited so long.
Visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-443-0700.
It is the Best of Beaver County on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Our guest is entertainment editor of the Beaver County Times, Scott Tady. Was there somebody before you doing entertainment at the Times?
There were a couple. There's Debbie Utterback, and then there's a woman named Robin Yorse who went to law school, and she had a real jazz background. She wrote a lot about the jazz scene, and but it's been me since 1997.
Yeah, okay. That means a lot of bases to cover. How has it changed? How has the industry changed? I mean, music changes over the years, of course, and how do you keep up with it? Because, I consider myself a dinosaur, and there are a lot, I came up in the classic rock era with the 60s and 70s kind of stuff. So how can you stay current?
A lot of it's visual. You have to be posting videos. You have to be tweeting from shows. You have to be putting it on Facebook, on Instagram. That's been an adjustment. I think I've caught on. But the thing I'm not as crazy about, it's so numbers driven. It's so logistic. We have software that's showing how many people are reading your articles, how long they're staying on your articles, how many times they're shared, if they're subscribing when they're getting. It's not just us. Every single newspaper in America is studying those metrics. And to me, that I'm just not a fan. That gets to be a slippery slope. If I tweet something about this band, but I know they might like it, if I pull a punch and not say something, then maybe they'll share it. And if they share it, I'll get more likes and more views. So there's a reason why I often don't hashtag a band, because I just feel that that's a slippery slope. You might not criticize them for something if you choose that path. But so I don't like the numbers are being studied so heavily. Some things you can't count. Something, it may be a story that only appeals to a small number, but they are passionate about it. They read it, they see it, they study it. I hear a lot from when I write about these restaurants that their business uptick is immediate. Someone sees this article, the new bakery in Chippewa. I went there a couple days after it opened.
Yeah.
The Petite Bakery. They said that they had lines out the door after the article ran. So I know it still matters to people, but it's kind of hard sometimes when the numbers don't always show. I wish the people studying the numbers realize there's more to it than just the number. Yeah. What's a line about bikinis? What they show is important, but what they leave out is more. I don't know. There's some kind of funny line about that.
Analytics important to the parent company?
To ours and every. Post-Gazette goes through the same thing. We have this conversation with their reporters, and I guess it's the same in TV as well. They're studying ratings or whatever. But I just think there's a broader picture that I wish people realized.
A lot of people in this business are a bit insecure, and I'm thinking in terms of just recently we posted a picture of our handyman, our janitor custodial, Tony. He got more likes and pictures than anybody else. So I'm thinking they're going to give him a show pretty soon.
There you go. Yeah,
because he's got I think over 200,000 likes to the page by this point.
Give the people what they want.
That's right. Yeah. And in terms of
that's the hard thing, trying to figure out what the people want. Sometimes I'll post something and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to stir people up. Oh, there's going to be so much reaction, and it's crickets.
Yeah.
And other times, I posted like ZZ Top was coming. They come every year. And they got like 600,000, likes, comments, whatever. And it's just like, whoa, I wish I could figure that out.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's time of day. I'm still trying to study what's the best time of day to post something. And
okay.
If you have an answer, let me know.
I don't know. Sometimes I think, because a lot of people read it in the office.
Yeah.
They're on the computer, they're in the office. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon where they're just coming back from lunch and they don't feel like doing much.
It gets to be a science. I think if it's a longer article, they'll read it like at 7 p.m. when they have time, or they'll read it on a Sunday morning, but they won't read it on a Saturday morning because people are on the go on Saturday mornings. And then if it's a quick hit story, you can post it like at 8 a.m. because people are just getting ready to work. But if you post it at 9, they're still on. So you start getting inside your own head, worrying about things that 20 years ago I did not have to worry about.
And the things that connect you would never imagine. Why are people attracted to that? And the things you really think are going to hit with them, it just goes past them.
I guess it's like being a singer, though. If you could figure out the formula, everyone would figure it out when they would have been billionaires.
Yeah. Talking about singers, bands, you mentioned ZZ Top, Leonard Skinner. A lot of these bands that, by today's standards, I would consider cover bands because they're not the original artists. ZZ Top,
Skinner, no original members alive, let alone with the band.
I can't imagine.
I guess Artemis is Artemis still?
No, I don't even think Artemis is still performing with them by today's standard. But ZZ Top, they went out on tour with who this past year? They were out with somebody else.
It was Skinner.
It was Skinner? Okay, yeah. So what's I don't know what the attraction is. When is it time to say, we've had our run?
Yeah, it gets to be, like you said, tribute band nostalgia. I can see people, if you have a kid and who never got to see them back in the day, maybe there's that, take them along. But yeah, it's always in the back of my mind, this isn't really the original band. And especially if it's a singer, it's kind of hard. If it's the long-established singer, I'm fine with the Rolling Stones going on, with Charlie no longer here, and Ron Wood's still the new guy from 1975 or whatever, but the singer, that's a big thing to replace. If it like there's the band Sublime, they have their singer out now called, his last name is Rome, Sublime with Rome, and it's just not quite the same.
Yeah. Should John Mayer tour with the Coral Reefer Band?
Oh,
that's what I've been seeing. Jimmy Buffett wanted him to go on,
and 20,000 people would turn out to hear those songs. And the thing with Buffett, though, it was all about the party anyway. I mean, he's a great songwriter. I don't think people appreciated that, but they were just more there to wear the coconut bra and decorate your car and drink 10 margaritas.
Speaking of drinking and concerts, Kenny Chesney is coming back to Acrisure Stadium.
Well played, Mike. And there'll be all the jokes about the garbage pile-ups there. I don't know. I see a lot after Steeler games too, to be honest. But Kenny's at least got Zach Brown band with him this year, and they are a fun live band, country band, of course. But they always throw some rock covers. They'll do a Billy Joel song or something, and he's got a good lineup, and it's kind of a built-in audience. He knows he's going to get his 50,000. It's the same thing. It's a party-hardy crowd, but it's money.
Seemed like a few years ago, country music, they went more to rap and pop style music. Yeah. Nowadays, Jelly Bean wins a major award from country music fans. So,
about that.
What is going on? Is the line blurring between genres?
Definitely. There's a younger audience there because it's like everyone their iPods or whatever you're playing on your playlist, your Spotify, whatever. No one just does one genre anymore. Everyone kind of picks and chooses that. So I think that's reflective of society, which is cool. But then again, every once in a while, someone comes around like this Cody Johnson, who just played PPG Paints Arena 2 Saturdays ago. He's old school. He's George Strait. He's just basic straight line country. No hyphens needed. So it's cool to embrace the pop, the hip hop. I like that's happening, but I like when a stout old timer just comes out and does the original pure thing. That always makes it more special too.
What is, as far as Pittsburgh is concerned, now you've been around long enough to see venues change over the years. Is it still a major attraction for publishing companies, bookers, people like that, to bring their acts to the area?
We missed some shows that Cleveland gets, and Cleveland's a bigger market, but we missed The Cure, we missed Depeche Mode. Yeah, it's disappointing. We do pretty well, but there's some that Pittsburgh, and it used to be the thing about the tax, right? The entertainment tax.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they're just looking again at numbers, and if Cleveland's the 19th biggest market and we're 27th or whatever, we're going to lose.
Has the Post Gazette Pavilion pretty much just
I never called it that. Starlake?
Starlake?
Yes.
Okay. Has it pretty much just gone country, and do they draw more country fans out there than others, except for the Dead?
They do, and it's money. Anytime they do a country show, it almost always does well. But then there'll be something out of the blue. They had Lana Del Rey this past October, the second latest show ever at Star Lake. I was there for that sold-out show, and she's anything but country. She's indie, she's folk, she's pop, she's so I think there's an interest there. Star Lake maybe needs to recognize that there are other people that would draw very well. The thing with Lana, she was only doing like 10 cities, so people drove in from Chicago. I met someone from Ontario who drove in just to see the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do like someone who's doing 80 cities, a pop star there. They're better off playing the arena. But country shows, you're absolutely right. Some of the oldie shows too, like Willie Nelson. He brought John Fogerty.
Yeah,
that was a fun show. It sold out, no, but it was a good crowd. So
I saw Willie a couple years ago, and I thought this is the last time he's going to be around. But he came back and he's sitting on a stool with the Suns out there.
I've seen him like 3 years in a row. I think I saw him in 2003, like you. I was 20 years ago. This is my last chance for Willie, and 4 times later. But it makes you wonder about his lifestyle.
Scott Tady,
he's doing the right thing.
Does Scott Tady ever hear about an artist or go to a concert and say, "I just don't get this"? I don't get it.
There's a couple. Oh man, you're gonna throw me into that. I'm gonna say that I've seen the Pixies so many times. I don't get the why people love them so much.
Okay,
that's an alt rock band from the '90s. To me, they're boring in concert.
Okay.
I gotta say, Tool is a band I like. But I'm not on the same level. Or Fish is another one. It's fun. I can dance. But you're standing next to someone who's acting like it's the second coming.
Like the Grateful Dead
I
first
don't
coming up.
quite get to that level. I never have, never will.
Yeah, let me switch. We have a few minutes left. The restaurant dining experience in Beaver County, especially Bridgewater. It seems as though that place is going to be the mecca of restaurants.
And all eyes are on when's Bigham Tavern going to open there. I'm hearing Christmas Day now, or not the day itself, but that time of season. That's going to make a difference. Of course, the former Spanky D's, the guy's building an Italian restaurant there. But yeah, with the Standard, the Grumpy Beaver, Mario's. You drive by Mario's every single night. There's a huge, cars are filling the parking lot. So I keep telling my Pittsburgh friends, come up here. We have something that you do not have, Pittsburgh. We have side by side restaurants right on the river. Beautiful scenery setting. You can walk from one to the other and. Think about it. Not since the boardwalk in Pittsburgh is that city.
And Mario's is slowly but surely getting back into entertainment there.
Yes,
used to be the big place for the Clarks and the Clark fans.
They were there this year too. Yeah, and I'm glad to see they continue that tradition. But yeah, you're right. A lot of good shows at Mario's and. El Dorado Band always packs them in. And
do you get the invites? Do the restaurants send you an email and say, "Hey, come on out and try this"? I can remember the Phantom Diner. Do you remember the Phantom Diner, like on Channel 2 many years ago?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I used to go in and they didn't know who he was, but they'd serve him a meal and then he'd write a critique on them.
I don't get as much as I wish I did for that. I got to be honest. The place I get a lot of my tips. There's a Facebook page called A Taste of Beaver County. And run by Beaver Falls woman Bethany Williams. And I don't know how she does it, but she finds all this news about upcoming restaurants. And I've been up front with her, Bethany. I've stolen a lot of stories from you. Thank you. And I recommend people, you want to know, I do the article, I interview the owner, I get it more in depth. But as far as the moment it breaks, man, that Taste of Beaver County. Yeah. And I know you'll be talking soon about what's coming up in your column this week. Anything that we should be looking for? This column is about Charles Wesley Godwin. I keep preaching. I've been on this show for like 20 times talking about this band. 5 Beaver County guys were on national TV last week. They were on CBS Saturday morning performing 3 songs live. They're doing stadiums next year, opening for Luke Combs. They have some big things coming up, and it's 5 Beaver County guys. The singer himself is from Morgantown, so I keep telling everyone, Charles Wesley Godwin, check him out. His Beaver County band's called the Allegheny High. I'm going to say they're going places. They've already gone places, and they're going to even greater ones.
Scott Tady, the best of Beaver County. Thank you, Scott, for sitting in with us.
Always happy to.
Appreciate it. Scott Tady, entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times, fine dining and restaurant guides as well. And that is the best of Beaver County. I'm Mike Romai. Thank you for joining us on the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM. Beaver County Radio's news source, 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Good morning on this Thursday, November 9th, 2023. The Beaver County weather forecast is calling for mostly cloudy skies today with decreasing temperatures throughout the afternoon. Our morning high will be around 63, but by afternoon we'll be looking at a temperature of 54 degrees. We'll go over the full details of your weather forecast following this look at news.
This is a breaking news report on Beaver County Radio.
On the November edition of Rappin' with the Reps this morning on Beaver County Radio, State Representative Jim Marshall made an announcement to Eddie Crow regarding the 2024 election.
You know, I've always thought about how long am I going to be in office, how many times am I going to run, and I will be state representative next year, but I won't be on the ballot. I'm not seeking another term, so I'm going to finish out at the end of next year.
When asked why he was not seeking re-election, Marshall replied philosophically.
It's something my family and I have thought about every election cycle. You know, what are we going to do? Is we're going for another run? And I've talked to other members that have decided not to run, and how do you make that decision? And a lot of them said, you know when you're ready. And I know. So I won't be running again.
The full video of Rappin' with the Reps can be seen in its entirety on our Facebook page at WBVP-WMBA or on YouTube at BCR Radio. The Pennsylvania Department of Education has released the results from last year's school assessments across the Commonwealth, and the numbers show a slight increase in subject proficiencies. English language arts proficiency is up to 54.5% in 2023, up 0.4% from the year prior. Math and science have increased higher as well, with the former up 2.6% to 38.3% proficiency this year, and the latter up 4.5% to a rating of 58.9% proficiency this year. These numbers were compiled from data taken from the state-level assessments given to students grades 3 through 12, including the Pennsylvania System of School Assessment, known as the PSSA, the Pennsylvania Alternate System of Assessment, known as the PASA, and the Keystone exams. On Wednesday, AAA East Central announced winners of Platinum, Gold, and Silver awards for police departments who were recognized for their efforts to keep the roadways in their communities safe. Throughout Western Pennsylvania, 63 police departments were awarded Platinum awards, while 25 departments won Gold or Silver awards. Locally, Platinum Award police departments include Beaver, Cranberry Township, Hopewell, New Brighton, New Sewickley, and Rochester. The Troop D Division of the Pennsylvania State Police was also awarded with a Platinum status. Additionally, a Gold Award was given to the University of Pittsburgh Police Department, and the police departments of Aliquippa and Beaver Falls each received Silver Awards. Those who shop at the Walmart Supercenter in Economy may notice some changes the next time they walk into the facility. That's because the store, along with over 1,400 stores across the United States, have been upgraded, remodeled, or renovated in a $500 million incentive by the company. The recent reopening of the Economy Walmart came complete with a ribbon-cutting ceremony, Gia James from Central Valley School Board District singing the national anthem, and a performance from the Ambridge Middle School Band. Along with the reopening of the Supercenter, store manager Chris Glass also announced that $5,000 in grants will be awarded to nonprofit organizations, including $1,500 to the Aliquippa Diversity Council and the Ambridge Middle School, and $1,000 each to the Beaver County Rehabilitation Center and the Economy Police Department. Democrat Tamika Lane has won a race for the statewide Superior Court in Pennsylvania. Lane's victory in Tuesday's election came as vote counting wound down Wednesday. Lane's victory gives Democrats a sweep of 4 statewide judicial races this year, including an open seat on the state's highest court. Dan McCaffrey was victorious in the race for state Supreme Court, preserving a strong Democratic majority on the panel. On the lower statewide appellate courts, lawyer Jill Beck of Pittsburgh joined Lane in winning an open seat on Superior Court. Philadelphia Municipal Court Judge Matt Wolf won a seat on Commonwealth Court.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies today with temperatures steadily dropping throughout the day today. By evening, we should be at 54 degrees. Cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 42. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 55 degrees. Mostly cloudy Saturday with a high of 49. And for Sunday, partly cloudy skies and a high of 48 degrees. This newscast has been brought to you by The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom. That's a look at news for now. I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming worldwide at beavercountyradio.com.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
It's time for Notes on Local Entertainment, the show highlighting the best in local talent. Hosted by Scott Tady Entertainment, editor for the Beaver County Times, and Eddie Crow.
It was like watching intermission, you know, when a band plays a really long time and after about an hour and a half, like Springsteen, when the band goes off stage and he plays a little bit. It's kind of like what we just had. Scott Tady is my guest like he is every Thursday.
That last guess is going to be hard to top, but I'll try my best.
All right.
He's been full of himself, I thought.
No, don't try and soft pedal it now. Scott's living the dream, man. You might have to go ahead and fill out a W-2 or something. You were Mike's guest on the Best of Beaver County, which I've considered you for a long time, in all seriousness. But you and I get to do this every Thursday, and we get to talk about what you just talked about.
I'll try to make it more interesting.
I know. Did you hear his question about is there a band that you just don't get? And what did you say?
I said Pixies.
And what did I do?
You danced in your seat. Yes, I'm so glad you agree that's an overrated band, a boring live band.
I mean, they are what they are, but you see people that get excited and you're like, I don't know. Are you a person that doesn't get excited when other people do? Or are you a person that gets excited about when other people don't?
I guess I get frustrated when I'm not on the same level as them, and I rack my brain like I'm at a fish show. Where are they at, and why am I not there? And maybe that's a bad example because it's probably what they're doing in the parking lot. But you know,
at a fish show, probably.
Good chance.
Yeah.
I guess I try to get in their headspace and figure out, okay, what am I missing? Why is everyone else like really loving this, and why can't I get there? And sometimes you get a little taste of it. You get a sense, well, okay, I can see why. Sometimes you go, I'm still not wondering.
Not my thing, but I see why it's their thing. How often does it happen? Because you go to shows, you go to all manner of things every day being the entertainment editor. How often does it happen that you go see a show and there's nobody there and the band is phenomenal? Flip the coin on that.
Yeah, I guess it's more the size of the venue. Like my favorite show of the year, I'll give you a scoop, is a band called the Sadies, and nobody's ever heard of them. They're a Canadian country band. They play old time, kind of like 60s psychedelic flavored country music.
Really?
And it was at Club Cafe, which wasn't even full, so there were maybe 60 of us in the audience, and that's when I'm frustrated. Why isn't this band playing for 800 people, 1,000 people? It was the best performance I saw this year. Why isn't it such a small venue? And the answer is because, well, they don't get, they don't get radio play. They don't get support. They're a Canadian band. It's country. What the heck? But it works. So I get mad about that.
We all bought into that life is a highway crap. So clearly, being Canadian's not the deal that kills it. Yeah. We bought into Rush.
Coney Hatch.
Okay, Coney Hatch. Ray Bonneville.
Triumph.
What's her name that sings in Vegas? I can't think of her name.
Celine Dion.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
But Canada gave us Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, and Neil Young.
Neil Young.
So, yeah.
And Never mind, I'm drifting down. I lived with Canadians for one school year.
But that was interesting, eh?
It was beauty. Oh, it was beauty. I've never been told off in such a polite manner every day of my life, eh? And they were just nice.
Yeah, how about that?
They were nice. And the stereotypes and mocking them after I lived with them for a year, that's not a stereotype. They're all really that nice. So I wanted to ask you about last night. The CMA Awards, the Country Music Awards.
Okay.
I didn't know they were on, but I started to see stuff getting posted on social media. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm only basing this on the anecdotal evidence of social media. Are there people that are really, really into country that found it odd that an African-American woman had the Song of the Year for a song she wrote 35 years ago? Or that something's up because the guy that's the best new artist has face tattoos? Because that's not, George Jones never came out looking like, well, when he showed up, he never came out looking like that.
That would be Jelly Roll, yes. I got to be honest, I was at a concert last night, and I woke up this morning and wrote my review, so I'm catching up. Who was the first woman you were referring to?
Tracy Chapman's The Song of the Year, the redo of Fast Car. She wrote that in the late 80s?
Yes.
Early 90s?
And, I'm not too crazy about the remake. Luke Combs, right? To me, it's faithful, but too faithful. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't try anything new, dare to be different.
I'm glad you brought that up. I noticed this the other day. I saw an article about this the other day. You've been around long enough to know that if you were an established band, you didn't do covers. You did your stuff. You might do a cover at a live show.
Right.
When did that change? Because everybody does a cover of something now. If they like it, they'll do it. What did Chris Cornell? I'm getting it. There's so many. They start
what, Soundgarden?
Yeah, but I think he did somebody. Was it weird when Hurt was done by Johnny Cash? Is that what opened the floodgates, that Johnny Cash was doing a Nine Inch Nails song?
But he did it differently. Is
Yes,
what made
he
it
did.
special. He took it to a darker, deeper level, and I still like the original, but I love what he did. That's the difference to me. What Luke Combs did with with the Tracy Chapman song "Fast Car" it's not bad, but it doesn't excite me. I don't turn it up when I hear it. I'm more likely hitting the scan button on the radio. So I don't know. It's the same with movies. There were always movie remakes, but now there's so much more common. Did I just see there's a new Mean Girls coming out? And
Is there really?
I think so, next year. And for millennials, that's like their Godfather. And already there's a nostalgia for that.
Part of me wants to throw a pin at you for what you just said. For millennials, that's like their Godfather.
And part of you agrees.
And part of me agrees, so I didn't throw the pen. When is a remake okay? The Adam Sandler remake of Longest Yard genuinely ticked me off.
Yeah.
Because
Burt Reynolds nailed it.
It was The Longest Yard. They just used different people. They didn't rewrite anything. Joe Dirt 2.
There is one?
Yes. Oh, dear God, it's bad.
Not aware.
It was
because
like,
the first
okay.
one was such a magnificent movie.
The first one was brilliant. The second one, you watch it and like, did you guys even write for this, or was this going out like Tommy Boy and just riffing on the fly and getting it on camera?
I think moviegoers are intelligent enough to know when a director does it because they have a passion for it and that they want to bring a fresh wrinkle, or they're hoping people discover a movie that they love, or when it's just a money grab. And I think too often it's a money grab.
What's the last remake? A lot of people don't know when something's a remake now.
That too.
All right. You're like, well, wait, that's the Gift of the Magi from 40 years ago. No, it is not. It's an episode of Love Boat.
Great reference.
Love Boat did a ripoff of the Gift of the Magi. Fred Grandy and Donna Pescow were the leads in that.
Oh, those are names.
I don't know.
Andy Warhol was on an episode of Love Boat. Remember that one?
No,
Andy
was he?
Warhol, yes.
I bet he freaked a lot of people out on the set.
I can't remember if him and Gopher were interacting, or I can't remember.
15 minutes. Gopher ended up being a state rep or something.
About that.
Go ahead. I knew it was going to turn like this.
Yeah, you're asking movie remakes. I'm trying to remember the last really good one. I'll take a lead from you. What comes to mind for you?
Nothing.
Yeah, that says something. Yeah.
Nothing. What are you going to do?
I mean,
other than maybe, okay, if it's a sci-fi movie, better science, better special effects.
Yeah, you get that.
But the idea of somebody saying, we're going to remake Soylent Green. Why? We're going to remake Silent Running. Really? You're going to find somebody like Bruce Dern today to fly that ship?
Some of those, like The Topic, at least those sci-fi movies, that The Topic was good. But then, maybe it's time to do Fahrenheit 451 because the movie itself was kind of weird. The 70s movie, I thought they botched that, so maybe it could be done.
That was weird. Brazil, do you remember that?
With Terry Gilliam.
Yes. That was bizarre as all get out. They tried, have you ever seen the movie Slaughterhouse-Five?
Read the book.
Okay.
I can't remember the movie, no.
Exactly. It was a disaster.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Terrible movie.
No.
You like the movie?
No. That movie's brilliant with Mos Def.
He was a great cast. Yeah.
And Arthur, but what's the girl's name?
Trillian.
The dude in charge.
Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Yes. That's where I learned that they had to make an intergalactic gargle blaster. You realize somebody's tuning in right now going, is this the right state? That didn't even sound like the right language. We're talking about remakes. I loved that book. I loved Douglas Adams. I read all the stuff he wrote before he died. I liked that movie.
I liked the BBC version of it, which was real kind of low key. Remember that? It was early 80s.
I remember the BBC radio shows.
Oh yes, yes.
You
can find those online, by the way. If anyone's listening, you want to have a good laugh.
If you want to understand what in God's name we're talking about,
yes, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
If you ever hear anybody say, "Remember to bring a towel," as in Towley on South Park, that started.
The number 42, the
number
fascination
42.
with, yes.
Yeah. Life, what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? It asks the supercomputer, and the answer, 42. Doesn't sound a little like AI now, does it?
Ahead of its time, as so many of those science fiction stories were, yes.
Who should be more well-known that isn't in music right now?
Ooh,
besides the Canadian country band that you saw with three other people.
I'm doing my top 10 list right now, and some of the artists on there are like there's a woman named Blonde Shell. There's a female band called Bully. I mentioned Sadie's. There's some really good music out there. You just got to dig. You really, it's not getting played. It's not getting the respect it deserves. People like that. I think one of the best albums of the year is, and now I'm drawing a blank on her name. Country singer, help me out, Eddie. Rob Schneider's daughter. What's her name?
I'm staring at you like a dog watching a magic trick. I have
I'm
no
going
idea.
on 3.5 hours sleep, but there's some really good music. I would say Blonde Shell. I would tell people to check out. It's a kind of a indie punk band, I mentioned Bully's a really good band. Boy Genius is a super group of 3 female indie singers. And you think supergroup, you think Eric Clapton's got to be involved, right? But no, you got Lucy Dacus, Julian Baker, and Phoebe Bridgers, all in their own right, great songwriters. They're in this trio. I saw them at Stage A this year. Phenomenal. I mean, people know it was a sold-out show, but they're not on the level they should be. And I'm going to go one more time. My Beaver County boys, Charles Wesley Godwin, the Allegheny High. They need more... they're getting it. They were on CBS national TV this past weekend, and I have a tip they're going to be on an even bigger show next year. I can't say yet, but they're going to be the Hunger Games prequel. That's going to make $1 bazillion. The prequel to the Hunger Games movie. They're on the soundtrack. This is 5 Beaver County guys making music, folks. They're singers from Morgantown. Charles Wesley Godwin and the Allegheny High. Get hip to them now. They're going places.
The term is cha-ching.
That's money there.
Because, that's not merchandising money. That's publishing money and licensing money. And good for them. Are you putting your year-end best of, worst of, here's who still's alive, here's who dead list that you often do?
We did that once. We had a caricature. We had someone draw images of them. What's the word? Caricatures. And we had them like the superstar band. I remember that. And it was hard fitting them all on one page. But and then we left out one of the Earth, Wind, and Fire guys. And how do we do that?
So you only put Earth and Wind in?
Something like that. But no, those immemorials. There was a time I rolled my eyes at those, but now there's so much news content. Sometimes you miss one. It's not till you're watching the Oscars, you're like, oh, I didn't know so and so died. I love watching him on Petticoat Junction or whatever. Well, maybe not that, but so I should do an in memoriam. Maybe you've inspired me to do that.
Well, you got to go down the list.
Who was the biggest loss? I know Jeff Beck was one of the ones we lost this year. Who did we miss the most in 2023?
I don't know. I'm still trying to get over the loss of John Prine at the beginning of COVID.
Yes.
I'm still sorting that out, but I think you're exactly right, and it's a bizarre thing to say.
You know, I thought Jeff Beck would die. He looked the same
no doubt.
for 50 years. Yeah.
Thank you. In Spinal Tap, he was brilliant. Kind of.
Jeff Beck and Spinal Tap?
No. That was the whole haircut.
Nigel, yes.
Yeah,
yes, Nigel the guitarist.
And we're going to talk about splice blocks in a minute and really tick people off. It is Teleforum. Scott Tady is my guest. He is the entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times, who should have died this year as far as you're concerned, but still out touring.
Oh, that's too dark. I can't say that.
Who shan't
I know
you
Dennis
enjoy?
Leary used to make that joke about Bon Jovi. He'd say, we lost Stevie Ray Vaughan and Bon Jovi's still out there, but that was a Dennis Leary joke.
Right, and you know what that was before it was a Dennis Leary joke? It was a Bill Hicks joke.
I did not know that.
Listen.
Uh-oh.
I was in
Touch
such
the
a
nerve.
good mood. I guess it's okay to wait until the guy dies to rip him off. But that joke you just referenced, yeah. Bill Hicks made it a long time before Dennis Leary did.
How long? Jovi only has been around since 83. 82.
Right after Bill Hicks died.
All right.
If you listen to Dennis Leary's stand-up, and credit where credit's due, super talented guy, ended up doing television drama. I love the guy, okay? His act was Bill Hicks's act.
So you're telling me there's a comedian who
That
actually
ripped
steals
off a
jokes?
comedian?
Whoa.
I believe that's called the Mencia effect.
Ooh.
Have you been watching any of that? Vice is running behind the comedy documentary. There's one with Freddie Prinze.
Oh.
There's one with just about everybody. But the latest one is Carlos Mencia basically saying, no, I didn't steal. He stole from people's act that went on before him and retold the jokes.
And that's one of the reasons why, maybe not that example, but you can't take your cell phone into a comedy concert now. Dave Chappelle doesn't want you putting his best joke on YouTube where some hack comedian in Illinois can steal it.
That's exactly right. And you know this as well as anyone. You've interviewed umpteen comedians. Comedians are basically carnies with a gas card. Okay? As far as the lifestyle that they live, it's a weird group. Every comedian I ever met was a comedian because there was no other lot in life that would suit them. And I appreciate that. But is there anything worse to a comedian than somebody ripping off material?
Probably not. That's like taking money out of your wallet.
Now, you can steal a guy's girl, you can steal a guy's drugs. That's all well and good. You rip off a comedian's jokes. And Mencia, there were people that if they'd see Mencia in the crowd, they wouldn't go on. I'm not joking. At the Laugh Factory, out in LA?
Does he admit to this? Does he own up to it? Or?
He just tries to soft pedal, and it's like, dude, write a joke. You know, it's like God tells Peter when he's up visiting heaven, hey, Conway Twitty says, do some work, write a joke. Yeah. Is Dave Chappelle the best comedian right now?
I don't think so. I don't know. I like some of the female ones, like Elijah Schlesinger.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, isn't she?
Yeah.
Taylor Tomlinson, I think, very funny.
That takes me back to a question I wanted to ask you earlier about music. Somebody, maybe Rolling Stone, just came out with a list of the best female guitar players. Is that sexist? That to me feels sexist. It feels like you're putting it in a different category. A guitar player to me should be a guitar player.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, there were actually, I think Martin came out with a study, more females were buying guitars than men. So it's definitely, I don't know, I guess I'd have to read how they couched it. If they really touted the women deserve more attention, maybe it's good. But if it was just to stir up attention kind of list, as most lists are, who's on it? I mean, you got Lita Ford, I'm thinking, Nancy Wilson.
She was on it. They ran it. And some of the names I recognize and some of the names, Oriantes.
Okay. She's Michael Jackson's. Yeah. She's coming to Pittsburgh. Definitely see her. She's phenomenal live. Yeah.
She is a guitar goddess, I guess is how I would phrase it.
Like Patti Smith. Did she play guitar? I'm trying to remember. It seems like she would have.
Sort of.
Oh, the Slater Kinney. What's her name? Carrie Brownstone, the guitarist for them, maybe. I gotta look at that list now.
See, now the list drew you in, and they're going to get metadata and say this is a good idea.
Metadata's the devil.
Did I not ask you something I should have asked you? We had you for an hour today. You're going to walk out of here like the priest at the end of Amadeus, just drenched in sweat.
Oh, remember we had Morgan Gruber on here the other day.
That's
the
right.
American. She is going to be performing Friday at the debut of the new winery in Ambridge. I have a story about the winery that'll be in. I'm going to post it Saturday morning right after seeing Morgan Gruber. Yeah, go to. It's called Harkins Mill Wines on Merchant Street, right near Stangel's Bakery. But yeah, American Idol contestant Morgan Gruber will be performing in there tomorrow night.
And you do know that she gets regular airplay on our sister station.
I'm still listening to the Beaver loyally. I'm digging what I'm hearing on there. You seem to be having fun doing the country stuff too.
I grew up with it.
I know that.
Yeah, I grew up with it. I'm fine with it. And I'll point it out like I pointed it out before. Just like I thought of it in the late 80s. Somebody is paying me money to sit in a room and listen to music.
Genius.
You're going to have to drag me. Like Jim Marshall said this morning, it's time. If that's my gig, it's never going to be time.
Yeah.
All right.
Good point.
Scott Tady, good to see you again.
You too, Eddie.
How was a full hour instead of a half hour? Wasn't bad, was it?
It flew.
Don't get used to that. There are days it don't.
Hey, how would you like to have a little extra cash to sock away this time of the year? Or how about Christmas cash for your stocking? This is Cindy Hilario from Friendly